Okay, so today we're going to install a dropper post on a giant Talon 1. Talon 2, I think it's Talon 1. We'll double check that, put it in the information. Talon 1, I'm being told. And we chose a Tellis SDG components, very nice post. We're going to unbox it, do the whole thing. This is a 30.9. This is 125 millimeter travel, which is actually perfect for this bike. This is an extra small. The boy who rides this is almost 5 foot, and it just happens to be just right. So we're gonna go ahead and unbox it, and we'll then mount it pretty fast. I think we'll be done in short order. Some tape on the bottom here. Post comes out. You've got the hardware kit, post, zip tied on, and we got the lever. So we're gonna put all that together. Make sure you hold on to the post so it doesn't fall out when you clip it off. So the first thing you have to do is you have to take your old seat off and mount it in the new seat. And so we will try to do that. That's tightening. Okay, so we got to reassemble the seat. Now, only trick is come up on top here. There's some little arrows. You keep there's little bolts pop out. See the little arrow? See the arrow in there? So the arrow's got to go forward. And that arrow's got to go forward. You're screwed. Oh. All right, put the rear bolt in, Ty. Rear bolt in. Yeah, there it goes. Is there a washer?
I cannot see.
No, through the hole. Get it in there.
Yeah, hold it.
I'm holding it still. Okay, spin it on with the Allen. So you got to make it flat and perfectly level with the rider and in the max line for this seat. But we'll go ahead and just tighten it now so we can check the rider height. That's good, and then I'm gonna put it in here. So we got to check our rider height. That's a critical piece of the install. So, okay, so pedal backwards. Let's check the ride height. So it needs to go maybe just up a little bit. That actually looks pretty good. Okay, so, all right, hop off. Okay, so now you need a piece of tape around the seat post right at the collar so that you can...
Oh, spider.
I was about to tell you, but I didn't want to say on camera.
We got a spider on camera, apparently. A nice one.
I saw that.
Okay, so now, Becca, go grab that tape measure. Now you're going to measure from here to the bottom of the post. And you can write that down. That's an important piece. Okay, so this is 7 3/4 inches. And that's going to be important because you're going to need to, when you feed the housing up through, you're going to need to cut the housing down that length. And so you need to know 7 3/4 inches. Okay, so now the fun part. We're going to fish this string down the seat tube up through the down tube and out this little hole. But you have to watch out. See that hole right there? When you're feeding the string, you can't let the string get sucked in that hole. So we feed the string down and then we plug the hole with our finger. And then it's gonna come down this tube. There's a small hole here, and the vacuum's gonna suck it right up here and right out this frame mounted hole. So let's go ahead and go. Okay, look it out. See how quick that was? That's really cool. We've tried it with floss. That didn't work so well on another bike, and the string works a lot better. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna attach the cable housing to the string with some tape. And so we'll get that set up and show you. Okay, so now we're gonna unbag the housing. And there's some instructions and some ferrules. Don't lose these. And the cable housing and cable. So we're gonna, first thing, we're gonna extract the cable from the housing and just set it off the side for a minute because we don't need it. That's on the other end. And you can just pull it out, it's not a big deal. Set it off the side. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our string end, come over here. And we're gonna wrap it up. I like to coil it just a little bit to give it a little bit of friction. And then we're gonna, I found electrical tape works the best because it's thin and strong. Duct tape is strong, but it's not thin, and the hole we're trying to go through is pretty small. So if you use duct tape, you might have to fish it a little longer. I'm hoping we can fish it the first time today. So I also like to put just a little taper on the front end here, kind of give it a little nozzle, a little nose, just so it can not get snagged. There's nothing sharp to catch or stop. Okay, Tyler, go ahead and pull it through. Okay, and you'll see it gets, maybe you can film down, but it, oh yeah, it went first time. Keep pulling, Ty. Keep pulling, Ty. Boom, see that? Okay, back out, Ethan, look. No magic, we just did it. So now we're gonna take the tape off, which is, I didn't leave myself a very good end for taking the tape off, but we're gonna try anyway. Should have done this all in one take, that would have been cool. We almost could have done it. Okay, now remember that, what was that measurement we said? Who remembers the number? 7 3/4, right?
The video does.
Oh, okay, so you gotta put on the...
Yeah, it was 7 3/4.
Okay, so now we're gonna mount the lever action, and it's gonna go on here, just like that. So it looks about the same height and angle as the shift levers over here. So I'm gonna go grab my tool and this is nice. You don't have to, it's a full pivot around the hinge. So you just drop it over. No taking off your grips and your brake levers and all that stuff. We're just gonna set it about there because that looks about like the shifter, but we can always adjust it here in a minute. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the cable and we're gonna try and give him a little room to grow because he's still young. So I want to route the cable up and I want to route it along the brake cable like that, so it has the same angle. Now this is too big, and so what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull this up until it's about right. And he's young still and growing, so I want to give him as much of this as I dare. And so you want to make sure that you can turn it full without any pinch, and that's good. So we're gonna cut it. So we're gonna take, Tyler, put a piece of tape. Okay, so now what you wanna do is you wanna put a piece of tape right where the seat collar and the housing goes into the seat tube. So go ahead and put that piece of tape on there. Okay, and now we can take it, back it out, and we want to measure, what was the number? 7 3/4 from there. And what that's going to do is that's going to mean that when we cut it here, our seat post, when we pull the cable back down in, is going to be right there. And so it's going to be perfectly matched to what our cable housing length needs to be. So can you measure that off, Tyler?
Yep.
Okay, so now we're gonna measure it off with the tape. 7 3/4. Come up here. I already gave him some room to grow, so I'm not gonna do any messing down here. Use some nice cable cutters so it makes a nice fit, and then I like to just round it up just a little bit so the ferrule will go on nice. Okay. Now we can push the cable through.
Yo.
Okay, so now you're gonna take one of the ferrules. Oh, sorry. You're gonna put it on the cable housing. Oh, that doesn't want to go on very nicely. Let me try again. There you go, make sure it's seated all the way down. Now the cable goes in with the barrel end facing out of the bike, because that barrel end is going to mate up with the seat post. So I'm going to push this down through, and it's super easy. Now our housing goes from back to front, so we're just going to push it all the way out.
Oh, it's out.
Okay, and now where's the seat post? Now you want to zoom in here. So the cable housing, the barrel goes over. That's the switch that actually makes the dropper work. Okay. Oh, I gotta put a little tension on the cable. It's gonna keep coming out. Can you put a little tension on that cable? Okay. Pull. Go ahead and pull. Pull. Okay. So now the ferrule gets seated up into this. See that little hole right there? See it? And now it's mated, so keep pulling, Tyler. And we're gonna go right to the seat post height that we marked. Clamp it up. Okay, now let's move up front. So you can see here, comes out of the frame. We're gonna go ahead and drill the little rubber bracket that doesn't have a hole in it. And we're gonna put the other ferrule on here and feed this on. So we're almost done.
Running.
Okay, so we grabbed a set of vice grips just so we can kind of set it without a lot of pressure. And this is the front. So what I really want is I want an angle, but I can't really start at an angle, and I don't want my hands underneath it. So I'm gonna just start here and say, once I get it kind of going centered, then I can get it on an angle. The better angle you have, I think the more factory it will look. I'll probably buy one of these from the local giant dealer, but ooh, okay, there we go. All right. Okay, unrelease them. Okay, so now we're going to push the cable and housing through our newly drilled and angled hole. I think we're going to push, okay, there it goes. And now we're going to feed this down onto the bike. Okay. Look at that. Factory, if I don't say so myself. Now I'm going to feed the other ferrule on. Feed it on so that it can seat onto the housing. Make sure it's seated. If you don't get them quite seated, the first couple of pulls you're gonna make with your lever are gonna seat everything. And what I like to do is I like to follow the lines of the bike, the natural lines of the other brake. So maybe we zip tie them together later. But what you do is you feed this, go down here so you can see, feed this through the hole, and then you gotta have this, now it's gonna just, whoop. Okay, and then we're gonna, I'll torque it later. It says to 1.2 Newton meters. Now, if you don't have a torque wrench, probably don't have a torque wrench or won't have a torque wrench, just go tight. It's aluminum, so you don't want to strip it out, but just go tight. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna clip this cable and then put a cable ferrule on it, and then that'll stay nice and tight behind here. But what we're gonna do now is we're gonna get the rider on and test it, because we should be ready to go. Okay, so now rider, you've got your seat here. Let's see, go ahead and activate it. Sit down. Oh yeah, can now let go, stand up, pop the button. Look at that. Perfect. Okay, hop off. Now we're gonna lower this. If you squish it before you get off, it's easier. Now these SDGs, it was nice, a nice soft touch to them. Come over here closer, and you can see how much. Watch how it's pretty soft touch. And my rider here's maybe 100 pounds, and he compresses it just fine. So it's a nice soft touch. Good post for kids, good post for adults. Let's go ahead and cut this cable, put the ferrule on, and we'll be done. Come over here. Okay, now we're gonna cut the cable off. Okay, now we're just gonna come on in on this other side so you can see the crimping here. So we're just gonna kind of crimp here, and here, and I'm gonna use these are kind of dull. I'm gonna get up in here if I can and just, and slip the cap on. Can you see me crimping there? Okay, there we go. So we're wrapping up. This is the SDG Tellis. This is the 30.9 diameter. Now that's just because that matches this bike. This is a 125 millimeter. Now there's a whole nother series you can look up online about how to size the right post for you and your rider. But it has a lot to do with where your seat sits up and how much travel you can get. And our rider really can only use 125. There's 100 on some brands, a 180, 200. You can do, there's lots of different sizes here. So this is a nice post. It went on really nicely. I don't think we were more than maybe 30 minutes, maybe 15. But let's just run around the bike again. So we got let's activate it here. So super soft touch. Super soft touch. Really nice. Really clean package. I like that the lever here is like a standard under the bar lever. I've seen a lot of them that, a lot of aftermarket ones that kind of come over the top, and they look really funny. The cable comes over here, and then you gotta, mess with this down. But this is natural. Looks like your shifter. Looks like any other, factory. And then, just looking at how this looks is really nice. Giant's nice enough to do that. Now the shop told me, our local shop told me, we can't do this. We can't run an internal post. And I didn't believe him. And so what I did, I shined a flashlight in that hole there, and I could see light coming out of the seat post. So I knew that we could do it. So sorry, local shop, but we did it. So that's it. That's all we got for today. This is an SDG Tellis on a Talon 1. And if the shop tells you can't do it, tell them sorry, but you'll do it. Thanks.